Hello there. You're now with me, Shol Chamato, for TVS English News at 5. Let's get to the headlines. A more modern and holistic waste management system should also be set up and implemented in rural areas in Sarawak. Deputy Premier Dr. Ahmad Douglas Uga Amba said that the archaic method of landfills could affect the environment and the rural towns and villages in the long run.
Uga said that the current waste management system is to send waste to the landfills, which he deemed to be outdated. Thus, he said it is high time for the councils to adopt a more modern technology in waste disposal systems. He added with proper facilities in place, it can even be shared between neighboring councils. He added that there are still villages and longhouses where council waste collection service is still not available, with some still resorting to disposing of their waste in the river without much consideration for the environment. On the same note, Uga also called on the Ministry of Local Government and Housing to allocate more funds for waste management in rural areas.
The symbolic packaging ceremony of Sumbang Seh Raya 2023 was held to show the government's appreciation and thanks to all security and enforcement personnel on duty during the upcoming Aidilfitri celebration. Minister of Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development Sarawak, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah said this year's Sumbang Seh packages were prepared by several participating agencies.
Aktiviti hari ini adalah menyiapkan pembungkusan Sumbang Seh Raya. Target kita 12,000 yang telah dibungkus selama 3 hari yang lalu adalah 7,900. Jadi hari ini tinggal 4,100. Dan saya percaya semangat oleh kerana semangat kerjasama yang sangat bagus antara agensi-agensi dan kementerian, ianya akan dapat selesai hari ini juga.
She added that an official symbolic handing over ceremony will also be held, to be officiated by the Premier Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Dan pada 14 hari bulan April ini, jadi ada majlis rasmi yang akan diadakan di mana Yang Amat Berhormat Premier akan menyampaikan secara simbolik kepada pengarah setiap agensi itu pada 14 hari bulan. Dan di pihak kami pula, kami akan menyusul selepas selesai penyerahan secara simbolik oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Premier. Jadi pasukan kami akan ziarah kepada semua agensi-agensi tersebut. Bagi kami, ini penting sebab there's a personal touch involved, a personal touch melalui ziarah tersebut. Bukan setakat menyampai saja, kita juga dapat mengeratkan silaturahim. Dan kami tahu bahawa untuk kementerian kami, kerjasama yang strategik ini kerjasama bersama dengan rakan-rakan strategik kami ini sangat penting dalam memastikan bahawa di dalam sesebuah komuniti kita itu ada wujudnya keamanan, ketenteraman, kesejahteraan.
She said this when officiating the symbolic packaging ceremony of Sumbang Seh Raya 2023 that was attended by all heads and representatives of recipient agencies at the main hall of Wisma Wanita Jalan Sultan Tengah, Kuching today. This year, the Sarawak government, through the Sarawak Women and Family Department, has identified 11 recipient agencies comprising security and enforcement agencies that will be on duty during the Aidilfitri celebrations. They include the Malaysian Armed Forces, the Royal Malaysia Police Force, the Fire and Rescue Department, and other agencies. For the record, Sumbang Seh Raya is a state government initiative that has been an annual practice since introduced in 1990.
On to the next update. Corruption is a critical issue that needs to be dealt with systematically and holistically, as it has caused tremendous losses to Sarawak and the nation as a whole. This was stressed by Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Datuk Roland Sagawi In, who said that the abhorrent practice will result in inflated costs for development programs to be implemented by the government.
It is very important to maintain integrity in managing our resources and wealth. Once the foundation of integrity is already there, I believe it will improve the ease of doing business and increase confidence of investors and ensuring Sarawak's position as an investment destination of choice for foreign investors. And this requires the cooperation at all levels and groups in society to maintain integrity to achieve our mission to become the richest state in Malaysia.
Commenting further, Roland, who is also Darat Assemblyman, said civil servants are most susceptible to corruption, especially those involved in decision-making and government procurement. Hence, he hopes that integrity units in government agencies and certified integrity officers play bigger roles in fostering the culture of integrity, whether it be in government agencies or the community.
Marilah kita sama-sama memainkan peranan masing-masing secara lebih objektif, konstruktif dan profesional demi meningkatkan mutu perkhidmatan awam. So ini adalah pesanan kepada kita sebagai pihak awam dan juga kepada rakyat keseluruhan. Penerapan budaya dan nilai-nilai murni perlu diukur secara holistik, yaitu menyeluruh.
He said this when met by reporters after officiating the Syrian Division Integrity Tour earlier today. About 300 participants comprising community leaders, village chiefs, village security and development committee members, civil servants and councillors attended the program organized by the Integrity Unit and Ombudsman Sarawak Unions, Sarawak Premier's Department in collaboration with Syrian Division Administrative Office. Syrian is the program's 7th location after Kuching, Lundu, Bau, Balingyan, Muka and Siburan.
Recently, the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, KPDN, announced that the supply and prices of wet goods, especially vegetables, chickens and eggs, will be under control and sufficient ahead of the Ramadan month. KPDN Minister also ensures that the Ministry will continue to monitor the markets should there be a supply crisis. Now, with the standardization of the prices, demands for the goods could be unpredictable. If demands increase and traders are forced to retain the prices, there may be limited supplies in the market. Now, today we will be joined by the President of the Consumer Voice Association of Sarawak, Mr. Michael Tiong. Now, Mr. Tiong, how do we ensure that the consumers have the upper hand when forced to encounter such a situation?
Okay, given the fact that KPDN is working very hard to control the price, especially the ceiling price. Okay, consumers can have an upper hand. I would like to quote one proverb: failing to plan is planning to fail. Meaning to say that there are 16 days to go. 16 days to go. What should the consumer do? The consumer should start to stock up their Hari Raya's goodies, okay, in preparation for the Raya. Meaning to say that if based on the trending last year's festival, they should know how many of their relatives are coming, okay? And then in this 16 days time, or even earlier, 12 days, let's say, okay, they should stock up and then purchase whatever the needs and also the stock that they need for the Raya, or even for daily purchases, daily usage, okay, so that there will not be any panic buying. Let's say, for example, 22nd of Hari Raya, okay, we can't expect consumer to have a last minute buying. So let's just say we are doing the last minute buying, right? The traders can't even cope with the demand. Okay, I'm answering to the situation now. Say, 1 week, we can only buy 1,000 eggs. Let's just say 2 to 3 days. before the Raya, we want to buy another 500 eggs. Can the poultry farm produce another 500 eggs? Consumer who have the power to actually influence the market demand. And then we as a consumer should be mindful in this knowledge of how to influence the traders so that we can have a better harmony when it comes to purchase and supply and demand in the market.
Thank you, Mr. Cheong. Now, another question. In today's economy, we know that getting the product to the consumer in a timely manner while keeping the cost of production and delivery as inexpensive as possible is one of the top goals. Now, in other words, businesses make the most money by giving as much value to the customer while simultaneously incurring the least cost. As with other considerations in life, having too much or too little of something will cost you one way or another. Now, Mr. Cheong, with this in mind, how can we prevent the overproduction of goods due to heightened demand?
Whenever supply is stable, the volume, or we call it economy of scale, whenever the supply is stable, the price will be stable. Okay. If you mention overproduction, right, then the question comes to this. Why is it overproduction? I don't think there is any overproduction in the market. Say, for example, I will take this as an example, in Sarawak or even Malaysia. What is the growth rate of the population in Malaysia, particularly in Kuching? 1%, 2%, say 2%. So every year, if they have an increase of 10,000 population in Kuching alone, say I am a poultry supplier, then if I am intelligent enough and clever enough, okay, I will use this analysis to do forecasts for my next production line, whether I need to increase the production capacity in order to serve the market. Okay, if I'm not smart enough, if I'm not a smart entrepreneur, right? I don't know how many of them. If I'm not a smart entrepreneur, okay, I will just base on the current, or let's just say 2 to 3 years ago's statistic. I will maintain the same volume or supply, which comes from the production, whereas the population needs or the population demand already increased. So there is a gap here. So if there is a gap here, okay, demand is high, supply is low, for sure the price will go up. Okay, for sure. But if let's just say the entrepreneurs here, if they are smart enough to cater for that demand, like I said just now, if the supply is stable, they are able to fulfill the market demand because they have ample of stocks in hand due to the forecast. So it will command a stable price. So that will depend on the intelligence or the, we call that, foresight of the entrepreneurs here in whatsoever industry, poultry or canned food, beverage production factory. If they are good enough in the forecast, their foresight, then this overproduction, right, will not be an issue. Overproduction will always create a sufficient stock. When the sufficient stock is there, right, the price will be stable.
Thank you, Mr. Cheong, for your insight and appreciate you joining us this evening. And that's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Shel Shamato. Thank you for watching.